In this tutorial I will go over on how you can make your own simple dirt and wooden ramps for your descenders map, and you will learn how to make the model and how you can also texture it. Okay, so first thing you're gonna need is Blender, obviously. I recently switched to the Steam version of it, and I would really recommend it because it gets automatic updates, and also you will be able to track how much time you spent. So once you're on Blender, create a new file, and I won't really go over on how Blender works and everything. There are a lot of tutorials out there if you need any more help. For this tutorial you will also see what keys I press on the left side here, so it's easier to follow. Okay, start off by Shift A, creating a curve and then a path. Then this path will be the way your ramp will be shaped. So go to edit mode and you see it has 5 of these vertices. We only will need 3 of them, so delete 2. Then we will use one of the other side and raise it a bit, move it up a bit, and then kind of move this one in the middle until we have a nice curve or jump. Let's have a look. Yeah, this looks like it should work. So now we can select the curve, go to object, then down here you see convert to mesh. This will convert it from a curve to a mesh, which if we press edit mode now and select the vertices selection, then we can see the vertices it has. Then press A to select all of them and E to extrude them. The sizes of the ramp doesn't really matter because you will probably scale it in Unity anyway, so just make sure the ratios and everything are what you want them to be. Select this edge right here and extrude it to at the top, and extrude it down, and also move it up a little bit to this side to kind of make the backside of the jump. Then you can select all of these edges right here, and for the other side shift click and then control click. Now extrude down, and now press S to scale. Select the C axis, so the one that goes from top to bottom, as you can see right here, and then press 0 on your top keyboard to make them all into a straight line. You could also, I think you could also do it this way by only going down here and then selecting everything and creating a face between, but I had some issues with this because the topology of it obviously isn't that great with this approach. We still have to kind of merge these together. So just select this word and the other one and press F to select to create a face between them. Do this with the other side as well. We now have our jump basically complete, but a jump isn't that straight usually, so we want to make it a bit more narrow at the top. And if we go here and scale it, you will see that it will only affect the one we selected, and if we select all of them it will look a bit better, but it will still be straight. So what we can do to fix this is we select this edge up here, and up here we click this button to go into proportional editing, and now if we press scale and select the axis, you see this circle around this, and this is basically where the scaling will be affected. By scrolling on the mouse wheel we can get the radius higher, and as you can see now everything is kind of selected. Down here on resize you can select how you want the proportion to be. I really like linear, I think it's the best one, but you can use whatever you want. Now it gets smaller to the top, but it also affected these ones down here, so we will just do the trick. We will just get them a bit out there, and now press scale, y-axis and 0, and it will be normal again. And the same you can do with the other side. Now we have a basic jump. It still has some quite sharp edges. If you want to fix that, just select these edges here, and now Control B, and this will create a bevel. If you scroll with your mouse wheel you will get more bevels. I wouldn't go beyond 3 because it won't really make any difference and it will just use a lot of performance. Keep it somewhere between 1 and 3. Also, I will do this at the top now. Just make sure to not do it too much because this will flatten your lip just a little bit. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I mean this tutorial is just for basic ramps, so we're pretty much finished with the model now. One thing you might notice is you see these faces here and it doesn't really look good, so what you can do is you right click on it and shade auto smooth, and this will make the transition between the faces. It will like realign the normals and stuff, which will make it look smoother, although the geometry is still the same. If you right click down here and enable scene statistics, you can also see how many triangles or vertices or faces your object has. If you're making just a simple dirt ramp, I would try to not go higher than 500 or 1000. Okay, so this is now finished, but it's still quite wide, so we want to make a texture for it. First thing we have to do, we have to UV unwrap it, so go up here to UV editing and then press A to select all. You have to be in edit mode. Then press U and then you can select how you want to unwrap it. As you can see, they will give you different forms. I would just go with something that fills a lot of the space here. I like to do for the ramps, for these simple ramps, I like to go to the top view, and then press project from view and bounce, and this will basically fill in all the space. Okay, now we can go to texture paint and on texture slots add a base color. You can name this however you want. I will name it tutorial dirt ramp. Down here you can change the resolution. I will just get it up to 2K. Just make sure that it will be a power of 1, which means that both of them are the same size. This will ensure that it is a square, which will help with compression. Then click add. Now we can paint on this, but before we do that we need some textures for it. So down here on texture you can go add a texture and then select the texture you want to use. I already have one selected, so I will just select this dirt texture. But yeah, by clicking you can add the texture to the model. You can also paint in this on the texture on the left here. If this isn't here for you, you have to go up here and select the texture. So here you see the tutorial dirt ramp. Just like this. Okay, and so yeah, just texture the whole model now. By pressing F you can change the size of your brush. Okay, so if you only want to have this dirt texture on there, you won't need to make a texture here. You can just use your texture, drag and drop it onto there. But if you want to have like an effect, like mud effect or something like this, then you use your second texture and then kinda make the strength really low. And what you can do now is you can kinda make this little effect as if this jump is written a lot. You can also do this in this tab. This might be easier sometimes. Yeah, it doesn't look that good. If you spend a little bit more time, it should be able to get something better than I did. Also, I think this texture is quite ugly, but yeah. Yeah, by texturing it, we now have this little mud effect. So what we can do now is we go to up here, we go to image and then save, and now we can save our texture. If you want to look at it in the edit mode, you can up here go to viewport shading, and this will allow you to see the textures. Let's just rename this to dirt ramp. So we also want to make a wooden ramp. and we will use a similar process as we did for this one, and we will start off again with creating a path. Move this a bit to the side, and we will also delete 2 of the vertices. Then we will make the kind of the shape of the ramp. You can also always click on these ones to get into the side view, which might be a bit easier to do. Now we have our curve. We won't convert it to a mesh yet, or actually we don't actually need to convert it, because what we will do now is we will add our plank. So just add a cube, move it to the path and make it the size of a plank. We now want to, first thing we want to do, we want to make sure that the UVs are in the right place. Go down here to material, add a new material, and you can name this however you want. I will just leave it this way. Now let's actually name this like plank. And down here base color, click on the yellow dot and then image texture. Then you can open a texture. If you need a plank texture, just go to one of these 2 websites. These 2 are my favorites for getting textures. And just search for plank. And here are plenty of plank textures to choose from. I will download this one. You have to extract the folder, and then you can add your texture. If you go into the viewport shading, we can see it's now here, but it's really weird stretched. So let's go into UV editing, enable the viewport shading. Okay, so to get the UVs into the right place, go to the face selection up here, select one of the faces, move it onto one of these blank textures. I like to use the one on the bottom one. Okay, that has to be perfect, just has to look good. So it's still stretched, and that's because I did a little mistake. I shouldn't have rotated it by 90 degrees. Yeah, so if it's still stretched, you did it in the wrong direction. I have UV unwrapped it now, and now we can go back to layout. And if we go on viewport shading here as well, we can see that it is working. So now we kind of want to get our planks in the shape of our curve, and to do this we will add an array modifier. And what an array modifier basically does, it will duplicate your object, and you can also do stuff like an offset. But yeah, obviously, as you can see, it's going the wrong direction, so let's just type in -1.1. But yeah, as you can see, it's not following our curve yet, so we have to add another modifier, and for this you have to go to deform and then go to curve and select our path. And now you can see it's kind of following it, but not really. And also it's a bit too small. So let's just move it a bit to the right, and now you can see it smoothly follows our path. So this is kind of where the start is. Okay, but it's not really to the top yet, so just add a few more. And yeah, it's quite repetitive. There's probably a way around it, but I just did it simple. Okay. I think I will actually make this one a bit shorter to have a bit more planks in there. You obviously don't want to make this small. This won't really look good, and will also take a lot more performance for the same size of the ramp. But yeah, I mean, we only have 16, so yeah, that shouldn't make too much of a difference. So now we have it in the form of our path, so now we can hit apply on the array modifier, and also on the curve modifier. Now we can see it's also still going into in a straight line, and we also want to make this little arrow at the top. In order to make the arrow, we first want to see which of these planks we want to use for the arrow, and I would use these 4 that we have an arrow here, and so I will select the upper 3, and then I will select one face of them and then press Ctrl L to select everything that is connected to them. Then we can press H to hide them, go in and select this whole plank here, and then turn on the proportional editing again. I will switch to linear and do the same we did before. Yeah, this shape looks nice. So we want to get the other ones back, and for this we press A to select everything, and then we press Alt and H to get to alter the hiding. And as you can see, because they were hidden, they weren't affected by our proportional editing. I will switch this off really quick and select these 2 edges and get them to the same size as these one. And now we will press C, where we will have this little circle there, and if we left click we can now kind of paint over it, and wherever this circle is it will select the faces, and we press Ctrl L to select the ones that are connected to them. So we have all of our bottom planks now. We can hide them as well, and now go up here, select this edge, turn on proportional editing again, and get the circle a bit smaller. Okay, this looks nice. And now if we select all and alter them, we will see we can have this arrow now. I think the bottom one is still a bit too thick, so I will select these faces again and make it a bit smaller, only a bit. So now we have our wooden jump. We can delete the nerfs, we can delete the path because we don't need it anymore. Let's actually rename this to wooden arrow ramp, and now exporting them. So you can either export them as one FBX, or you do this by exporting them both as one FBX. So the dirt ramp will be its own FBX and the other one will also be its own FBX. I have the wooden ramp selected up here, so I will export that one first. So let's type in wooden ramp, and then on the right here click on only selected objects, and what this will do, it will only export the wooden ramp. Export, and now we export again, but this time make sure to select the dirt ramp. So now exporting again, and now we can export the dirt ramp. Over to Unity, we can now open the folder where we saved our stuff, and you can see here dirt ramp, wooden FBX, and the tutorial dirt ramp PNG. I will move them into here, just drag and drop. What we should now have is all of our objects. As you can see, it works. This one looks really black. This is because you have to add the material first, get the smoothness down. If you only want to have a dirt texture on this, you can also just use like any other dirt texture, like this for example. Last thing that we want to add is a mesh collider, because we need a collider, otherwise the rider will just go through the ramp. And a mesh collider will basically take this mesh right here and make a collider exactly where our faces and everything is. So yeah, just add this to both of them. One thing I also often do is I will now drag and drop this into my asset folder, and this will create a prefab, and this way I can just drag and drop it into here, and it will have our mesh collider and material and everything already selected. I just noticed a little issue here, and you see our move tool is quite far off from the ramp, and that is because in Blender, if we look at our ramp, you see this little orange dot, and that is basically the origin of the ramp, and wherever that is, the move tool will also be. So if you want this to be in the center of the ramp, just right click and then set origin to geometry, and this will fix it. And yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.